Hello and welcome to another episode of Making It Happen. I'm your host, Amanda Kaufman, and this week I am talking about bringing joy, generating it, bringing that positive energy into your life, into what you're doing, that you're going to be a lot more effective in making things happen. So notice I said bring the joy. Something that I've really had to learn in my own life is the responsibility that I have for my own mood and the responsibility I have for my own energy. When you can tap into a higher elevated energy level and mood, you will be more successful, period. And all the science supports it. You can go out to the Googles and look into that yourself. But basically, when we're in a positive frame of mind, we tend to be more giving, we tend to be more creative, we tend to be more resilient, we tend to get things done and make things happen. When you're not in a positive frame of mind, you tend to be a lot more lethargic, you tend to experience a lot more friction as you're trying to do even simple tasks. So there's a lot of benefit to it. Shawn Achor is a doctor at Harvard. He's from Waco, Texas, y'all. Just for fun little tidbits, really has nothing to do with why I was bringing up Shawn. He wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage. And he also did one of my all-time favorite TED Talks that I would encourage you, if you happen to have 13 more minutes today, go ahead onto the YouTubes and check out Shawn Achor TED Talk. He talks about happiness at work, and he talks about the happiness advantage. And basically, super paraphrasing and probably butchering just a little bit, the essential point is that when we are in a positive frame of mind, we are 30% more productive than if we are negative, neutral, or stressed. Doesn't that sound good? If you're 30% more productive, that means that you could accomplish as much work in an 8-hour day as you would have in a 12-hour day. That doesn't sound bad to me, not during the holiday season anyway. So joy is really important, and you can control a lot of it. So positive psychologists have done a ton of studies, and again, I'm like rounding and summarizing and simplifying to a very large extent, but here's the punchline. Did you know that about 10% of your happiness is actually based on your circumstances? So your circumstances being like whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you're rich or you're poor, where you live in the world, what job you have, all those different circumstances only comprise about 10% of your subjective well-being, otherwise known as happiness. About 40% of your happiness is tied up in genetics and genetic proclivity to subjective well-being. And that leaves the balance, right? Basically, half of your happiness or your subjective well-being can be attributed to how you perceive of and engage in your world and the world around you. Isn't that amazing? You have so much power over how you perceive things and the energy that you bring compared to your circumstances. I mean, I've met so many people who, everybody wants to be happy, right? I can't think of the last time I went to a networking event where somehow the subject of I'm trying to be happier in my life didn't come up. Yeah, no, can't think of it, right? So if you're trying to be happier, so many of us try to change our circumstances to make that happen. We change the job, we change the relationship, we change the house, we change the stuff, we change a lot of these circumstances. And I'm not saying that changing your circumstances isn't a great idea. Why not better your circumstances? But if that's the sole source of how you're going to be happier, I got bad news. That's only going to shift it about 10%. There's a little thing called the hedonic treadmill. And basically, that is the concept that once you achieve that change, or you achieve that goal, or you get to that thing that was supposedly supposed to make you happier, your brain is going to set the marker just a little bit further out. What's that mean? That means that we actually are happiest when we're striving for a goal, but as soon as we get the thing, we just shift the goal out, right? So why am I doing the joy challenge, the happiness challenge, the 30 days of joy challenge? It's because we have a lot of control over our joy. I follow a guy named Brendon Burchard, and you may be familiar with his work, but he talks a lot about this metaphor that the power plant doesn't have energy, it generates it. Now, technically it converts it, chemical engineer, technically it converts it from fuel, but the point is the same. The power plant doesn't innately just have it, right? We don't just have joy and we don't just have happiness, and it doesn't just happen to us, right? Like I just said, like only 10% of what's happening to us is really affecting our subjective well-being over time. So that means that we can work that muscle, and that's a muscle that I've definitely worked on in my life, and I would love to see a lot more people intentionally work on their happiness. So I came up with the 30 Days of Joy Challenge. The 30 Days of Joy Challenge is basically 30 days with yours truly showing up in your inbox every morning with a 2-minute or less little video issuing you your joy exercise or joy challenge of the day. You're also going to be invited to a private Facebook group where you will get to post your joy and post what you're noticing about this challenge over time and commiserate with your fellow challengers. Let's face it, there's a lot of negativity going around these days, and if you just watch the news for 4 seconds, suddenly you're in a pretty deep depression over some of the things that are going on. But remember, 10% is circumstance, right? About half of our subjective well-being is up to us. So take the challenge, right? I am charging something for this challenge. I want it to be a high quality challenge. I want people to really get something out of the experience, but I'm not profiting from it. I'm going to take everything that I'm collecting from this challenge and I'm donating it to directrelief.org and specifically to the Hurricane Maria recovery effort. Why? Mostly because I want to. But okay, why? So I grew up in a place that was very isolated and remote. And when I looked at what unfolded this year with Hurricane Maria and all those people stranded on an island and just not having access to a lot of the things that we in the mainland may take for granted, it just made me think like, gosh, if something that tragic happened in my hometown, would we be able to survive that? And what would the rebuild look like? It would take forever, right? So that's why. That's why I chose that charity, because a lot, they've got excellent ratings for how much money they actually spend on their efforts. And, there's a lot about that charity that worked for me and my value set. Take the challenge. I'll donate the money. If you'd rather just donate the money, great, bring some joy that way, right? If you want to cause a ripple effect of generating joy and working your joy muscle, join this challenge. It's like $1 a day. You probably spend more on coffee, right? And I'm not suggesting that you give up on the coffee. I'm just saying that bringing that intention and doing something good for the holidays, it's just a wonderful thing, and I really would invite you to participate in it. So I hope that you found Making It Happen useful to you. I hope that it didn't go on too long, but I'm really excited about the challenge, and I'm really excited about the holiday season and bringing some joy and seeing some ripple effects. So if you have any questions, just email me. You want to opt into the challenge, link is below, click it. Share this with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to Making It Happen every week so that you get updates, and you can check out the latest by going to amandaKaufman.net and checking me out on Facebook as well. Take care.